Welcome to Cinemophile, where we bring you the best in independent, documentary, and foreign films, and we talk to the people who made them. I'm your host, Mike Caspar, and you can find out more about the program by going to cinemophilepod.com. 1917 colonial Burma. Edward, a civil servant for the British Empire, jilts his love-struck fiancée, Molly, the day she arrives to be married. As he escapes into an unexpected journey across Asia, she quickly follows suit, amused by his moves. From director and writer Miguel Gomes, the award-winning director of Tabu and Arabian Nights, comes a globe-trotting tale of unrequited love, earning Gomes the Best Director at the 77th Cannes Film Festival. Grand Tour blends melodrama and screwball comedy in this cat-and-mouse chase between two lovers. We're joined today by the director of this wonderful film, Grand Tour, Miguel Gomes. Miguel, welcome to the program.
Hello.
I usually ask filmmakers what inspired their projects, what inspired their films, but I'm going to take a chance and say that love inspired this project.
I
What
hope,
was it? Is that close?
well, I would say love is a very good thing in life, and we could have a more, like, give it a little bit more range and say that life, sometimes I like to say that the most, the most overviewed subject on cinema that people don't care that much, and it's the most important, is like we are alive, and that's amazing. So yeah, we are alive.
We are alive. And this film is teeming with life. Not you name the sort of category, whether it's human relationships, whether it's social constructs, whether it's the forest, the jungle, all of it is here in this film, and it is a remarkable unfolding in this film and the different elements that you bring to it. Was this always something in terms of when you first thought about making this film Grand Tour? Did you think about it in these multi-dimensional ways from the beginning?
Yeah, I thought first of all that we should have this story about this couple, Molly and Edward. That happens in 1918, shot in a studio with a very unreal Asia, not made in a studio like it was from the beginning of cinema, but also to have the places they go into the film. The maybe the things they see in a different way, like shot in a travelogue. So a travelogue, you can only do it on the present. So you have this, like you said, you used a very good word, unfolding, because the film unfolds from space and time, and I hope it's made with very different kind of things, reality, studio, different times, but in the end that it unfolds in a coherent way with very different kinds of elements. But for me, it's more fun to do it.
Yes, to all of the things you described, it is a very cinematic journey. The use of black and white, the shifting of the storylines, the point of view of the storylines throughout the film, the look of it, the as you described, sort of old-time cinema look. This is a film that I think you need to let it unfold. If you're watching it, let it unfold. Let it wash over you in a sense, because I don't think that it's necessarily a plot-driven film. It is a sense of time and place and emotions and the power of cinema to take you to these different places. Those are the things that for me come through in Grand Tour. Allowing this filmmaker, allowing you, Miguel, to take us to these different places and these different perspectives on their story is what is magical about this film. And that you care about the people in this film is a very important element as well.
Yeah, I like the idea of caring about people. I think, for instance, nowadays you have something that I'm not so comfortable with, which is sometimes you're portraying unfair political societies, or this takes place during colonialism, which are not I think it's we can agree it's not the best political or the most fair political system. And sometimes there's like this idea that in order to speak about the unfairness of this, you have to punish everyone. You have to punish the characters. You have to punish the viewer for being like accomplice of this. And I don't think that cinema is like a court or a judge that should punish people, or a policeman. I think you can do it in another way, more subtle way, and try not to push that much the message, but to give space for the viewer to arrive to their own conclusions. And well, I tried to do this in this film, and I hope I continue to do this, because I cannot do otherwise.
Beautifully said, because you were right. And from the very beginning of the film, where we watch people in their human way of, like, I'm thinking of the Ferris wheel and those men who were working, multiple people working to make it move, to get the motion for those people, and sort of the elemental level at which these people are operating in terms of survival and or enjoying themselves, and also the introduction of the puppets at the very beginning of the film sets us in this other world. As you said, in 1918, it just sets up so much of the film and the context of the film so beautifully.
Yeah, we are talking about the Ferris wheel, the puppets, all these elements, these Ferris wheel without motor. They are hanging in the wheel to move it, to put it in motion, because there's no motor. So it's the people that work in the wheel that put it in motion, and it's crazy. When I discovered this, I was amazed. And something that I really look to have in cinema as a viewer, but also I want to have it as a director. It is this kind of feeling of being amazed with the things we can see, with the world. In this case, I think that today is more difficult, to be impressed, to be amazed by things, because now there you have Google Maps, and you have all these kind of photos of selfies and photos. Every corner of the world seems like discovered, so there's less place for the amazement. And this was really a goal, an objective, that we were doing this travelogue, because the film is also a travelogue, and that amazement could we wanted to regain this feeling of being amazed with the grace, with the beauty, with the craze, the wildness, and the craziness of the world. For instance, the puppet shows you're also telling was quite in Asia, in every different country in Asia, in this region we crossed from Myanmar to China. They have many, many different kinds of traditions of puppet shows. And one of them is shadow puppets. You have it in the south of Thailand, in Malaysia, and it's like press cinema, exactly, because you have a screen, and you have the puppeteer and the puppets behind the screen. The viewer is on the other side, on the seeing only the shadows. And this is done for ages and ages. So it's like press cinema, and it looks really like cinema. It's you are seeing shadows and light on the screen. That's cinema before cinema being invented. I was also very impressed and tried to shoot these kind of things that made me happy, and I really wanted to share with
Absolutely.
people.
That puts all of the kind of this human impulse to tell stories in all the different ways in which we tell ourselves, talk to ourselves essentially in this dialogue of giving meaning to the world, giving meaning to relationships. All of that plays out in this film. Again, once again, it's just a beautiful film to just take in. The many different places that we go, the many different techniques that you use to tell the story. Just a beautiful, beautiful film. Before we go any further, I just want to remind our listeners we're speaking with Miguel Gomes. The film is called Grand Tour, and it is an award-winning film, I believe, at this year's 2024 Cannes Festival. You were selected as Best Director for this film. Congratulations on the accolades. There's an element to the film that it almost feels like I'm watching a silent movie. There's parts of this film that feel like a silent movie that has been given voice in the way that it looks, the kind of the even the movement of the actors. It feels like, and as you said, this takes place in 1918. Is there a connection there to that era of film that you felt you were communicating here with this?
I don't know. I would say that it was not on purpose, but it's true. For instance, for me, in the like in the beginning of the film, there is a sequence where the main character, Edward, is seeing something going on, like a discussion or something between three women in Malaysia, in the jungle. And yeah, I think I can relate to that. I can, because they are talking, but we don't have even subtitles. So the character is not able to understand what is said. He starts to be disturbed by the discussion because it feels like he's involved, is like the subject. He can be the subject of this discussion, but he doesn't know. And we decided, so he's lost seeing this. And yeah, you're right. It can be the kind of the shooting we have, the editing has something to do with silent film, and it has sound, but you don't get the meaning. So there is dialogue, but you don't. It's not translated. So you're at the same level as the character because you are in the same position. You cannot. You're not able to understand what's being said. So but I think that nowadays cinema is starting to get more old, and so you start to have memory of other eras of cinema, and cinema is an amazing constellation of different moments, you know. And me myself, I'm a cinephile. I since a kid I went to see films. I grew up watching films. I start to understand that there was not one kind of film. Of course, I started with more, you know, mainstream films. With lots of them, I still love. But I started to understand that cinema could be also many different things, and it's amazing we can have this memory, not try to, you know, to imitate or just, you know, to do the same thing because we live in a different moment, but we cannot lose the memory of what cinema was, and you can have a little bit of the sensation of it today.
Beautiful, beautiful film. I again give yourself over to Grand Tour if you're listening to this conversation when you watch it, because you are rewarded richly for doing so. The cast is wonderful. Everyone in it that throughout the film that we see in different iterations, and the look of it, the sound. You spent a lot of time on sound. I can tell in this film a lot of things to enjoy. Not only just viscerally, but also as a cinephile, as you're describing. The film is Grand Tour, and we've been fortunate and honored to have with us today the director Miguel Gomes, who was also, by the way, his previous work, Tabu and Arabian Nights, also award-winning films. This was Portugal's Best International Feature entry from the 2025 Oscars, and so much more. I look forward to more work from you, Miguel. I look forward to another conversation, hopefully down the line. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure, Mike. Thank you.
You have been listening to Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar, the place where you will hear from the best in independent documentary and foreign filmmakers. Please check out our previous interviews as well as upcoming interviews and special programming by going to cinemaphilepod.com. We are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, searchable under Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar. Until next time, thank you for listening.